It's not a big deal, right? Costco has membership fees and all, so it's helpful. Sienna tries to get me to go shopping with her just because she wants to. I couldn't stand her self-serving attitude, always thinking about what's advantageous for her, and I've refused many times. But she keeps insisting that it's fine, and it's becoming pointless to argue. Finally, she tried to set a date for me to go, even though I hadn't agreed to it. Okay, when do you want to do it? Then my husband came in and gave an even more outrageous response, and I couldn't believe my ears when he said it. Hey, what's going on? That's Sienna, you know. It's obvious we'll end up paying money again. At that time, I intend to retaliate. It seems like Ian has some thoughts regarding Sienna's actions. It seems that he's planning a tremendous payback, but only if Sienna behaves as brazenly as usual. I decided to go along with my husband's plan. My name is Ruby. This year, my child started kindergarten, and I've been busy with their education and getting to know our neighbors. Fortunately, most of the other moms are kind, and they've helped me a lot with various things, from kid-related matters to advice among parents. I think I've managed to build good relationships by helping out wherever I can. Except for one mom friend. Her name is Sienna. She always seems to need help from everyone, including me, and she calls herself a spoiled child. To be honest, she has never really helped me with anything. For example, whenever we make plans to go out for a meal with other mom friends, she often shows up out of nowhere and joins us. I wouldn't mind that so much, but she frequently asks for bites of other people's food, or makes comments like, "I'm a bit short on cash today," clearly hoping someone will cover her meal. Other mom friends who have had similar experiences share my feelings about her. Whenever I go shopping, I always drive, and she often shows up persistently asking for a ride. I wouldn't mind if we were just going to the same place, but Sienna is just so pushy. Oh no, I was in such a rush, I forgot my wallet. What do you want to do? Should we go back and get it? No, that would be too much trouble. Can I pay you back later? Whenever I take her shopping, this always happens. She always has an excuse, like forgetting her wallet or leaving her cards at home. She puts items in my cart, promising to pay me back later, but she never actually pulls out her wallet. Even though she says she'll pay me back later, Sienna almost never does. When I confront her with the receipt, she just keeps making excuses like not having money right now or asking me to wait until payday. Ruby, you're really strict about money, aren't you? Finally, when I went to her house to talk about it, directly with her and her husband, this is what she said. Sienna's husband is a reasonable person, and he always apologizes and pays me back. But Sienna herself doesn't seem to care at all. You might think it's just $20 worth of shopping, but when it happens several times a month, it really adds up. Having to go through all this trouble just to get reimbursed every time we go shopping is really stressful. It would be great if I could avoid her when I go shopping, but Sienna uses her child to manipulate the situation. The kids are friends, and sometimes they promise to go shopping together, and then Sienna asks for my permission afterward. It's hard to say no when the kids are involved, and I can't ask her son not to be friends with mine. Other mom friends sympathize and try to encourage me, but I get the feeling that they also want to avoid dealing with Sienna, so they keep a bit of a distance from me. Hey, could you go shopping instead of me? Huh? Why? That persistent mom friend I told you about. Just tell her no firmly. It's that simple. I couldn't take it anymore, so I asked my husband for advice. But since he doesn't know Sienna's personality, he didn't take it seriously. He told me that the kids' relationships are separate from the parents' relationships, and that I should stand firm. One day, while I was still struggling with what to do, my husband came home looking extremely tired. I thought something had happened at work, but he told me that when he got into the car to go to work, he ran into her. Oh, Ruby's husband. Perfect timing. Can you give me a ride to the station? She apparently spotted our car while waiting at a traffic light and called out to him. Even though she was asking nicely, she didn't expect my husband to refuse. She even came up to the car and tried to open the passenger door. When my husband refused, she started yelling and calling out his name repeatedly, trying to get him to come back. Can't believe she was shouting like that on the street. See, I told you Sienna was a handful. There's a limit to being a handful. She even asked me for train fare afterward. He tried to get away from her, but since it was a route with many traffic lights, he had a hard time shaking her off. After dropping her off, Sienna went to the subway station despite not having enough money for a ticket. I wonder where she planned to go. My husband, realizing the selfishness of Sienna's actions, understood why I needed to talk and looked drained. What's she really thinking? That's why I wanted you to handle the shopping. I'm sure she doesn't care if she's dealing with me, that person. He shook his head and seemed clueless about Sienna's behavior. I was also puzzling over what to do. Then, one day, Sienna broached the subject with me. Hey, Ruby, I want to say Costco. That's right. Want to go with me? It's cheap and cozy. Sienna, do you go there often? No, I'm not a member. I responded vaguely to Sienna's abrupt suggestion. Sienna knew a lot about Costco and suggested things, even though she wasn't a member. Our household knows about Costco because my husband is a member and sometimes uses the car to go there for shopping. However, just because of that, it didn't mean I would take Sienna shopping. I figured Sienna was only interested in my wallet, so I just nodded along casually. Hey, let's go, Ruby. You're a Costco member, right? No, I'm not. What about your husband? Well, that's fine too, but I'd like him to drive us. How do you know that? The other day, your husband gave me a ride. I saw some Costco shopping bags in the car. Hearing Sienna's words, I couldn't help but grimace. You can't pay at Costco without a membership, though. That's why I'll handle the checkout and pay later. You hardly ever pay when you say that. It'll be fine this time, right? Even though I thought she's not serious this time either, Sienna, as usual, talked to my child. Can we go shopping together? She asked, and my son enthusiastically replied, Sure. Then can I have my husband watch the kids? I haven't agreed to go yet. Oh, come on, but it's fine, isn't it? Costco has a membership fee, so it's helpful. She only considers what benefits her, and I couldn't bear it, so I refused several times. Even when I asked her not to make promises using the kids, she insisted it's fine. Eventually, despite not agreeing, she eagerly started planning to go. What are you talking about? Oh, Ruby's husband. We promised to go to Costco together next time. Oh, okay. When should we go? My husband unexpectedly agreed when he came to pick us up, and I couldn't believe my ears. Sienna happily ran to him and quickly arranged to go to Costco the following weekend. After Sienna left, I couldn't help but complain to my husband about his response. Hey, what are you thinking? It's Sienna, remember? I know. But didn't she say she'd bring money this time? That's definitely a lie. She'll definitely make us pay again. I plan to get back at her then. Apparently, Ian had some ideas about Sienna's behavior. I was apprehensive and couldn't help but laugh when I heard my husband's strategy. He seems to be plotting a tremendous payback, but only if Sienna behaves brazenly as usual. Additionally, if Sienna considers staying away from us as a result, I'd see it as a welcome opportunity, so I decided to go along with my husband's plan. Finally, the day to go to Costco arrived. Sienna was in high spirits since morning and naturally hopped into our car, asking if I forgot anything. Do you have your wallet with you? It would be troublesome if you forgot. But aren't you the one who often forgets? It's okay. It's okay. While Sienna's remarks irritated me, my husband responded politely. Normally, I would have wanted to check her wallet right there, but I endured it considering my husband's plan. Sienna seemed to be well aware of Costco's system, knowing that only members with cards could pay. By shopping there, it was inevitable that my husband would end up paying. In that case, she could push the payment onto us as usual, and if she claimed to have forgotten her wallet, she probably thought she wouldn't have to pay like always. Sienna's intentions were clear as day, and it seemed my husband understood that well. As soon as we arrived at the store, Sienna cheerfully put her basket in the cart and hurried off. Wow, they have such a great selection. It's hard to decide. Sienna happily looked around and kept tossing items into the basket. When I suggested separating our baskets to avoid mixing up our stuff, she just adjusted her cart and continued adding items without hesitation. My husband secretly whispered to me that Sienna was putting items in our basket without checking the prices, which made me laugh. It seemed Sienna wasn't thinking about paying this time either, so my husband decided to execute his plan. That was fun. Huh, Ruby, is that all you're getting? Yeah, we still have stuff at home and can come back. Oh, really? Then invite me again next time. Swallowing the words, I didn't invite you this time either. We line up at the cash register at the far end of the line. While my husband took out his wallet, Sienna also opened her bag, which I watched intently. I watched silently as Sienna rummaged through her small bag and, as expected, said, Huh, I'm sorry. It looks like I forgot my wallet. You said you were fine in the car, right? I'm sorry, okay? I know it's bad, but can you spot me one more time? Sienna's basket has way more items than my husband's and mine. It seemed like she was planning to buy about $200 to $300 worth of stuff, but she still didn't seem concerned about the contents of her wallet at all. Since she didn't talk about paying when she got home, it's obvious she doesn't plan to spend any money. I glanced at my husband and nodded. Oh, okay. Oops, sorry. Looks like I got a call from my parents. Saying that, I left my shopping basket with my husband and stepped away from the checkout line. Then, I hid close to the nearby shelves and discreetly watched the two of them. Sienna seemed to be chatting with my husband without any particular concern. Even though you bought a lot, it's a shame you forgot your wallet. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'm lucky to have friends who can cover for me. Oh, right. There was something I forgot to buy. Sorry, but can you wait in line here for me? Well, I guess I have no choice. Just make sure to come back quickly, or I'll be in trouble. While Sienna grumbled, my husband also left the checkout line. Sunday mornings at Costco were particularly crowded, so as soon as Sienna turned towards the checkout, he disappeared into the crowd and became invisible. Well, what should we do now? With such a full basket, we can't really say we're not buying anything, huh? Saying that to each other, we exchanged glances and chuckled from behind the shelves. We walked past the back of the shelves and lined up at the farthest checkout counter from where Sienna was in line. I watched Sienna for a while, and she kept waiting for us in the checkout line, giving a little bit of the line to the person behind her. On crowded Sunday mornings, many people also plan to have lunch here, so especially at this time, it's unlikely she'll spot us waiting far away. We finished paying and left the store ahead of her. We got into the car and waited for a while. I checked my phone to see if it was time to reveal our plan, and there was a message from Sienna. Hey, still waiting? Stop messing around. Don't keep me waiting too long. Even without your wallet, you're still willing to wait in line for so long? Maybe it's time to tell the truth and ask her to come back to the car. Yeah, you're right. It seemed like she was still waiting dutifully, and we couldn't help but laugh. Basically, what was she going to do if she couldn't pay for all that stuff because we didn't have enough money? With that in mind, I told her that we had paid our bill first and were returning to the car, and sure enough, an enraged Sienna called me. Hey, wait a minute. What are you thinking? My shopping isn't finished yet, you know? If you didn't bring your wallet, you couldn't shop in the first place. Come back soon. Don't be unreasonable. Stop joking around and come back quickly to pay. I won't pay. How much do you think you've made me pay for you until now? For a while, no matter what we said, Sienna insisted that since I brought her, I should pay. In the end, she even said she wouldn't go back if I didn't pay, which made my husband more astonished than me. Since she had no intention of going back home, my husband reluctantly started the car. When Sienna asked how she would get home, my husband only replied, "You'll be fine," leaving her bewildered. "If it comes to it, maybe she could force someone into giving her a ride in her car." My husband said that and laughed. It seemed like he's still upset about being forced to give Sienna a ride to the station. I told Sienna that if she didn't contact me and come back soon, I would leave her behind, but she still refused to listen. Leaving her behind might be harsh, but after being pushed this far, I couldn't do anything else. I left the store, thinking that somehow she would manage. The next day, it seemed like Sienna managed to come back home by taking the subway by herself. Sienna came by our house, giving my husband a mean look because he was laughing and saying, "She had her wallet." And then she cursed at us angrily. "I couldn't even shop because of you. It was awful." Basically, isn't it worse not to bring money when you're going shopping? "Just because of that, are you going to leave me stranded? That's awful. You could have paid for me." "How much do you think you've made me pay for you until now?" "You always say stuff like that. Ruby, you're really obsessed with money." She kept selfishly bringing up her own arguments and kept shouting about how I didn't pay for things. She even demanded compensation because she was hurt, making a scene at the front door and causing a nuisance. "What's wrong? Why are you shouting so loudly?" "Oh, Kathy, please listen. Ruby is being really unfair to me." Kathy happened just to pass by. Kathy is a chatty mom friend, and Sienna smiled smugly when she saw her. She probably wanted Kathy to spread rumors about how awful I've been to her, to the neighbors. "Ruby said she'd take me to the store, but left me behind." "Oh, so it's a story about you forcing her to make a promise, isn't it?" "Huh? No, that's not it. Ruby suggested going." "You wouldn't invite someone who always forgets their wallet and just relies on others to treat them, would you?" "Well..." "So you threw a fit trying to get more money out of her, and she left you behind? That's what you get, isn't it?" Sienna's attempt to spread rumors to Kathy backfired when Kathy pointed out the truth, leaving her stunned. I knew that Sienna would tell her about what happened yesterday, so I told Kathy about it beforehand, under the guise of consulting her. On the contrary, Sienna, who was lectured by Kathy, finally left with a red face. Kathy said it must have been a disaster, while encouraging me, and she seemed somewhat amused too. From now on, she will probably talk about what Sienna has done all over the place. After that, Sienna couldn't correct the facts, and thanks to Kathy, her misdeeds spread quickly throughout the neighborhood. Sienna tried to make friends, but it seemed like she was making things worse by spreading gossip herself, so she couldn't get help from anyone. Even more, many people said it was her own fault, and now she's even more distant from the neighborhood than before. "It's all your fault. Everything. All of it." I thought I had gone too far in leaving her behind, but Sienna was still just as resentful of me as ever. After Sienna's husband seemed to give her a scolding too, she began to run away when she saw me. People who were tired of Sienna's behavior started to say, "Well done." I'd like to think this brings things to a close. Her clingy behavior was pushing people away, making it hard for me to connect with anyone else. But now, thanks to what happened, I'm finding it easier to form bonds with others. I'm able to hang out with others, and when we shop, we each pay for our own stuff, which helps us all get along well.